Welcome back to Instinct Radio. You're tuned into the Dainhen Butler Show. We have one of our guests in the building, OGKK. What's going on with you, brother?
What's going on? How you doing, sir?
We're fine, man. I've been seeing you around the city, man, doing some of everything. You with Omar, so if you're doing Omar, you got to be trying to save the children to do something, man. So for those people who, those listeners who don't know who you are and what you represent, man, could you please inform them and let them know what's going on?
I'm Atlanta OGKK. I represent Duct Tape Entertainment. I got a non-profit organization, BCF, Better Communities and Families.
Mm-hmm.
It was put together through me and a couple of cats from the street organizations, from the Bloods and the Crips. And me being a GD, well-known GD. And we out here in the community going and feeding the homeless every Wednesday. I just left the juvenile speaking to the kids, so we're doing this every week, every day.
Okay. My first question is, what makes a individual who has obviously, has some street credibility and like really out here, what makes you want to, do something that, that's gonna help our youth? What made you want? Because you're doing it on a continuous basis. It ain't no weekend. Let's take some pictures. It's like this a continuous thing with you. So what's making you want to, give back?
Cause I'm different from the rap nigga they listen to. You feel what I'm saying? I'm really out here in the street, and I really help tear up the street. You see what I'm saying? So it's only right that I give back, and then I'm just doing what God asked me to do. I never knew this was my calling in life to go to the juvenile, to speak to the kids, and I thought I was just gonna hustle and sell dope the rest of my life. You feel me? You know what I mean? And build a business that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that wasn't the plan. So I done been through the robberies, the murders, and all the dope selling, and then when you sit back and just listen to the how society got it set up now, it's already computer technology is more advanced than the parents in the household. You feel what I'm saying? So we got to get back to when I was a little kid, man. I was just telling Omar the other day, we got to get back to where when mama used to cook or the wife cook, and we got kids, everybody got to sit at the dinner table and eat for that 1 hour, turn off the TV, put your cell phones up, you know what I mean, get back to loving and knowing each other, because you got parents that don't even know their kids. They just birthed them, you know what I mean, but they don't know what make them tick, why they don't like this and why they don't like that, So I'm out here because I've really been out here in the street with these kids and really been, on the other side. Then I growed up, so I was adopted also, so I always had a black part in my life that I used to always wonder, like, why my mama gave me up for adoption. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just met my biological mama like 3 years ago.
Wow.
You feel what I'm saying? Like some real Antoine Fisher type shit.
Yeah,
you
like
know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I really got a testimony to give. You know what I'm saying? So I give it back because the rap niggas that's out here nowadays, they with the fake gang bang, and they got the kids all misguided that is this and is that. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell them what not to do. You know what I mean? Because I was once one of them.
Yeah.
But I can tell them, if you're gonna go that route, make sure you know what you're doing, because it's a consequence to that. You know what I'm saying? It's a consequence to it. So.
One of my questions was, what do you think influences or makes kids want to join a gang?
Peer pressure. You know what I mean? Seeing right now, I say it's social media really now. I say social media. You know what I mean? If anything, and peer pressure at the days and times now. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to think back when we growed up in the 90s, 80s, 90s, it was considered the crack era.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So, but we spin it now into 2000, and you take a man and a woman, both of them on Molly, both of them popping perk, both of them on Zan, both of them sipping lean. What kind of baby you gonna have? It ain't no different than having a crack baby. You feel me? It ain't no different. You know what I'm saying? But folks gotta be faced with reality. Reality, everything. You know what I'm saying? 2 + 2 gonna equal 4, regardless of which way you put the numbers. It ain't gonna never be 6. You know what I mean? But
what challenges are you seeing with this change, people knowing you from, last several years, being a part, that street life. What challenge you think you're seeing now? Of course,
Well,
we can talk about it, but what's the challenge you see?
Well, I seen it from both sides because I was all on TMZ. I was, they had me behind the Rick Ross when the Rick Ross got in trouble with the Gangster Disciples. They said, I was the one that had Rick Ross' car shot up in Florida, and I was one of the top murder suspects who wanted Rick Ross dead, over 50 Cent, over Jeezy, and everybody. So, you know what I mean? So I seen how the media tried to portray me as being a bad individual where they didn't know. I done been to college, you know what I mean? I got a 4.0 GPA. I coach Little League football. I do all kind of other stuff, but they only portray this side. You see what I'm saying? So I was like, man, damn, I've been trying to get in the industry so long, you know what I mean? But it took for me to say, fuck Rick Ross, for the whole world to take attention. Who am I? You know what I'm saying? So I took that and I just took the negative out of it and just made it some positive. Like, well, now I got the voice. My voice is powerful all over the world. What can I do now? You know what I mean? I don't want to rap. I want to just do something to get the kids in the right, in the right order. Like, so I took an incident between Chief Keef and the Migos, and I'm looking at all the industry guys that, that could have stopped the beef when it started. But guess what? I'm the one who stopped the beef between Chief Keef and the Migos. You know what I mean? And so somebody got to take charge. You know what I mean? We can't keep pointing the finger, and saying it's this person, this fault, they fault. It's all our fault. Once everybody take responsibility and the blame for what's going on in the world today, 1%, it ain't all, you know what I mean? You got to take 1% of the blame, you know what I mean? Because the reason I say that is that it takes a village to raise one child. But we done got where society done made us where we don't even want to know our next door neighbor. You feel what I'm saying? Oh, I don't know them. I ain't got nothing to do with that. But when we came up, we knew everybody on the street. You know what I'm saying? And, it's just also you got to think about the Georgia laws. The laws is what really is fucked up in Georgia. You 16 years old and your child has the right to drop out of school. And there's nothing the parent can do about it in the state of Georgia. Now, on the flip side of that, in the state of Georgia, no man has rights to their child in the state of Georgia unless you go get your rights legitimized. So signing the birth certificate in the state of Georgia when you have a son or a daughter, it don't mean shit. But they not going to tell you that until your child support get bagged up. They take your license. Now they don't put you in another situation. Now you can't even go get no job because you're licensed. So now your child support building up and you steady going back to jail on a repeated cycle. Now you taking a person who getting locked up for child support and you putting them in the same cell as a person who locked up for murder. It don't add up.
You know what I was thinking about when you said that, when you start thinking about like the rules and regulations, SB 440, some of the laws that get passed in reference to, just because I know people that's locked up for marijuana now, but now all of a sudden it's legal and it's a dispensary now. But I know people like that's doing time, like for real. So
I ain't Ronald Reagan.
So my whole thing is this: when I start thinking about the United States government, I think about an entity of people who did not have our best interests at heart. So exactly in 1865 or in the 1800s, when slavery ended, supposedly, when slavery did end, those individuals who were in control did not stop being in control. And so as opposed to them sending us to the plantation and housing us in that manner, what they did was it just switched up. It switched up where they started turning us into a product. Like as soon as slavery ended, African Americans criminal activity increased. But that was when you can go to jail for looking a white woman in the eye or walking on the same sidewalk. You see what I'm saying? Just like, but since then, they've kept the jails filled. And I was talking, I think it was a couple of months ago, we was talking about Angola. Angola was actually, it's a place in Africa that we come from. But at one particular time, there was an Angola plantation. And okay, when slavery ended, right now on that the same very property that our ancestors picked on the Angola plantation, now it's called the Angola prison. And it's the same thing. It's our people working. It's a different lane, and it's a different time. And they saying that slavery's not in. But what I do know is that my people picked cotton there. They died there. They lived there. and it was called the Angola Plantation. Now it's called the Angola Prison, and my people still working that same land and not benefiting from it.
But you know, in Louisiana, especially New Orleans, like all the projects in New Orleans was slave plantations, though. You
I
know?
didn't know that.
Yeah. That's like real.
Listen, there's so much anger for so many things that have happened to the Black community, and we're seeing the negative effect on our young people and what's happening around. My question is, what can be done now? I know the anger isn't helping us, because if anger was helping us, we would have solved some of our problems. So anger is not helping us. You've been on both sides of the street. You've been on the side where you're doing bad things, and then now you're on the side where you're helping them. Talk a little bit about the difference and how you can help a young person listening instead of just picking up, from the point of view of anger.
Well, to speak on that is, we gotta, as black people, we have to get out of the Black Lives Matter. You know what I mean? Because when we say, you just said the word community. Community is black, white, Chinese, whoever, whatever race is in your community, that's what community is. And it's really all lives matter, because if you minority, it don't, regardless what race you are, you're going to get it the same way. You feel me? And that's where it started at first. You know, we can't be angry about what happened 400 years ago. That's over with. You know, it's still going on. It's modern day slavery. You know, we know what's going on. But we are in control when we get to a certain age to make the certain decisions and choices. And if we all look at the hard times that we have as a person, 90% of the hardship that we have, it's because of the choice that we made, not because of we was really put in that situation. You know what I mean? And once folks start stepping up and owning up to the responsibility of it, blacks more prejudiced than whites. You know what I mean? I'll just keep it real, because I hear it all the time, and you know what I'm saying? And yeah, blacks do this, whites do this. You know, once we get off the race aspect of it and teach the kids the right, because you know, I grew up playing baseball and football, and when you play sports, it's no race. You don't know who you'll be friends with. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? My best friend coming up was white kids, because I went to school when they had the M to M program. And that's what happened like in DeKalb County when they cut the M to M program out and stopped. You know, we ain't never really had inner city over there. The inner city always been on the west side. But when the low income parents was able to send their child to the well-off white schools when I was coming up, the Lakeside High Schools, the Dunwoods, the Shamleys, the Peachtree. Now, you know, we and then when we came up, we made those schools popular in sports. It was the black athletes from the neighborhood going out to the white schools, Lakeside and Dunwoody, who made those schools excel. But guess what? When the drugs start coming into the neighborhood, and the little kids start, when the white kids start want to imitate what the black kid do, you know what I'm saying? It's a problem. We got to keep them at McNair. We got to keep them at MLK. We got to keep them at Stevenson. We got to keep them in their neighborhood. Now we stuck in the neighborhood. There it go. You feel me?
So you're saying part of what's killing our neighborhoods is it's the drugs in our neighborhoods?
Yeah, it's the drug. You know, drugs always been around though since we was little. You know, cocaine, marijuana, it always been around. It's just society is set up, the structure of society is set up different than it was now. Matter of fact, you know, I take as a parent, you know, when we was coming up, a person couldn't tell a parent that their child was bad. Your child was just down the street doing something. Now, a person come to you, tell you about, man, shut the fuck up, I know about my child. Man, I used to get whipping by the parents on the street, man. My neighbors used to whip me. The principal, when they took out self-discipline out of school, without the principal being able to discipline the children, that's another thing that happened. Now you got your kids telling you, you can't whoop me, I call the police.
Exactly.
So now, Because you got to, if they locking parents up now for what they call child abuse, right?
That's exactly
Our
it.
parents supposed to been locked up for life. You know what I'm saying? You know, you got to think now, man, think about it, man. If you 35 and over 35 and 40 years old, your ass done got hit with all kind of switches, shoes, all kind of shit. You know, you know what hurt worse than a switch, man, when your mama used to just pinch you and just do this shit. Come on, man. That shit hurt worse than anything in the world. And see, we got to get back to being scared of your parents, man. These little kids not even scared of their parents no more because you know, society once again is set up to be more of a friend to the child now than a parent to the child because of the younger parent generation. You know what I mean? I had my first child when I was 15, turning 16. You know what I mean? I have 7 biological kids and 2 adopted kids, so that's 9. You see what I'm saying? So I understand. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I wanted to ask real quick, what do you think, okay, if we have parents who can't discipline their kids and keep them off the streets, and then you have the peer pressure of the kids wanting to join the gangs, what's the option? Where are they going to find that positivity to stay straight, to not rob, to not shoot, to not want a gun?
Because that's where it takes the family. See, you got to understand, it wasn't always what happened in mama and daddy household. You remember, got to understand, that's why you had the big mamas used to step in. And see, and that's what I was telling my brother. Like, I had 14 when I read my my adoptive package, right? They tell you everything that's going on. So I was like, I had 14 uncles. But y'all let me go to the system. You know what I mean? Nobody in my family even adopted me. You know what I'm saying? I was adopted by a whole nother family. I'm glad though. You feel what I'm saying? So, but it takes the cousins, you know what I mean, the uncles, you know what I mean, to tell the little kids the truth, regardless if they out there doing it. You know, the OGs above us told us the truth. Hey, man, you gonna stay your ass in school. You know what I mean? Go play some football. They might have been selling big dope. They didn't want us to sell dope, but once we crossed that line and did it, they had to tell us the truth about it now. Now you gotta tell them the truth. You can't keep hiding it under the table. You see what I'm saying? And, you know, when the control factor, like TV is the control factor. You know what I'm saying? So when you got that, I'm gonna give you a prime example. What child 9 years old needs an iPhone 6? You know?
Yeah, none.
What? Tell me what child needs an iPhone 6? Even the Android phone, where to the fact where they can get on the internet and you can tell your child out, they don't do this and don't do that. But shit, I'm gonna go pull up this. I'm gonna go pull up this. They see it. We wasn't, when we came up, all that was here. We didn't have social media. Only thing we had was a calculator, and your mama them used to get mad when you used to count on your hands like this, because they, you know what I'm saying? So they didn't let you use the calculator, count on your hands. So we got to get back to raising our kids with the morals that our grandmothers then raised us. Once we get back to morals is everything. You know what I'm saying?
It starts with the parent.
It starts with the parent. Like the parent, it's a shame if a parent say, I can't control my child. That shit embarrassing.
Let me ask you this. How big of an impact do you think that hip-hop music has on the actions of our youth?
Oh, it has a, shit, out of 100%, I say 85.
Wow.
The way society's set up now, because you got to think, it's a younger generation. What I mean by that is that, and when I say we, that includes myself, because I ride around with my little baby in the car playing Thug and Jeezy and all the explicit music, you know what I'm saying? But guess what? When we was little, man, you can't play that shit in my house. That's what mom and daddy told you. So what we allowing our kids to do things that our parents didn't allow us to do. Maybe because we thought they were too strict. You know what I'm saying? If we look at the effect that it had on us in our life, you know, they really was doing what they thought was right. You know what I mean? Because you got to think, they was raised how they was raised.
Exactly.
They parents and they parents. So, you know, we bend the rules a little bit, and maybe that's our fault.
Let me ask you this, because it's a twofold question. when I think about music now, like I listen, we'll take duct tape. I listen to Alley Boy. I listen to Trouble. I listen to anything that I'm from. I used to go to Corn Middle School.
Okay.
I went to East Lake Elementary School. I grew up on Tupelo. So in my mind, I'm just like, these people that I know, when they talk about something, it's authentic.
real life,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Okay, but then I think about how music used to be, because I grew up listening to self-destruction.
Positive music.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it was cool, like, when Different World, when they was going to college on Different World, that's what, in my mind, I was like, I want to do what they doing. You know what I mean? I want to be a part of that. So my question to you is this: how much of a, because right now, when I think about rappers, and I'm talking about everybody, I'm talking about real ones, fake ones, or whatnot. If you on every song that I listen to right now, we can turn on, can I say V103? You can turn the V103 right now, and the song that's playing right now, it's some black people that's going to die in that song. And in my mind, I want to say that this is what hip hop has come to, but then I want to say that from a strategic perspective, from distributors to those people who understand mass media, how to guerrilla market to one degree or another, they've positioned our people to rap about this that destructs us. So my question is, how do you feel about that, and do you see truth, and do you understand, or how you feel about it?
Well, by me being in the industry and watching it flip over, they took the conscious rap, like of the Public Enemy, the KRS Ones, and switched it to quote unquote gangster rap.
Yeah.
That's what they call it now. Because, you know, you had the dance era of music. You know, music is always supposed to make you feel good. You know what I mean? Then you had a little down music, but it never supposed to make you want to go kill nobody. You know what I mean? Like, I never listened to a song and hype myself up like, yeah. You know what I mean? But I see what's going on, and it's just like the industry, like you just said, the industry, it's like COINTELPRO. You feel what I'm saying? And it's whatever's gonna get me the money at this time, that's what we gonna go with. Period, point blank. You can be the hardest rapper it is, man, saying the most positive stuff on the music. But guess
Ain't
what?
nobody listening to it.
Won't nobody listen to it now.
Selling.
Until the whole industry flips back and say, this is the kind of music we finna go back with. They control the industry, not the rappers, and you know what I mean? It's the Jews behind the scene.
Yeah.
They can flip it at any time and say, we're gonna stop rap music and pull the plug on it, and it's done. But they not gonna do it because it's just like drugs, guns, and oil. It's paving the way. They can't stop the drugs, the guns, and the oil, because what's gonna happen to the United States?
Yeah, it's two things. You know, we was at juvenile. We was at the juvenile earlier. And I think one thing that we agreed on, and you said early in the juvenile, is you have kind of mentioned a little bit today, is people have to start taking responsibility for what they do. And that's one thing he talked about with the kids, is about being responsible, and taking responsibility for some of the choices you make. And that's why when I always they think I'd be debating with them, but that's what I'm telling you. We just have to learn how to take responsibility, man, because parents got to start taking responsibility for some of the choices they made, and reason why some of my kids is going the direction they're going. But not only gangster music, just think about most of the love songs you hear. Everything now is about cheating, or most music you hear about it ain't never talking about with their girl. Most of it's talking about with your girl, with your baby mama.
Yeah.
So when kids constantly play this in their mind, or adults even sometimes play it in their mind, and the more you keep entertaining these things,
becomes your way of
yeah.
life.
Now, I remember listening to Spice when I was growing up. I remember listening to NWA. Trying to think what other music was kind
Ghetto Mafia.
of. Ghetto Mafia, when it didn't hit me like the way NWA did when it first came out.
You
And,
thought you were one of them New York.
Yeah, I had on all Raiders, man. I was wearing all Raiders when the starter jackets came out. But when you listen to all this music, I mean, you don't really hear the sacred love. I love my wife or anything like that. You don't hear about what I'm gonna do positive in my neighborhood. It's about you don't hear the conscious rap no more. Everything you hear now is so much. So negative to come to family. Everything is sex. Everything is cheating. Everything is being with somebody else's girl. And just think what it does to our young people, man. They listen to this stuff every day.
When I listen to that, I'm like this, man, because I try to find out where the origin of something is. Because a lot of times I can see, you can disrespect me, and in my mind I'm just like, he done lost his mind. He don't understand. You done looked at the $5 glasses and you think it's soft. And we can act up if you want to, if that's what you want to do. But then I start thinking about, why am I being disrespected? Where that individual come from? And most of the time when people disrespect you, they have absolutely no idea what the possibilities is. But how do we get to this point where if you step on my shoe or you say the wrong thing, I'm ready to kill you. Yeah. I'm ready to go to chain gang, and I'm ready to kill you about something that was said. And then when I say I go back to the origin of it, I think about this. I know you don't like me talking about slavery. But this is my whole thing right here. When we start think about this. When we think about 9/11, something that affected the world to one degree or another. I'm not going to say who was responsible for it, but 9/11 affected the world to the degree that you have some people who can't go back to that place because they're traumatized. This was one day where people was killed, people was jumping out of buildings, the whole world was at awe to one degree or another. So that's trauma, that's a serious event. Let me ask you this, if I come into your house and I hang, not your mama, this is hypothetical, I take your mama and hang her, and I cut your daddy balls off, and I strangle your sister, is that traumatizing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm saying is this.
Right now.
This is what I'm saying. Okay, so 9/11 took place on one day, and it affected the world. So now you killing my people, you strangling us, you done cut my daddy balls off. This is what you do for 400 years, and you tell me that my people not traumatized. And what takes place is this: that the traumatization that I have, I carry so much strength that you feel like it's not traumatizing me, but I pass on what's going on in my mind and what's going on in my spirit. You may not be a direct effect of slavery, but that traumatization that I have on me and in me, I pass it on. So in retrospect, when somebody that does something in the community or somebody kills somebody and we look at it and we sit on the news that he just stupid, that was a stupid decision. In my mind, I'm like, how much trauma? This person has not been treated for the trauma that they've been through. You see what I'm saying? And then what we do is we come up with these. When I think about the government, I don't believe they have our best interests at heart. Because if our education system worked, we'd be in a totally different place. They say they fix situations with grants and non-profits. If you do what you're supposed to do from the get-go, you don't need no grants. You don't need this stuff. The education system, the judicial system that they have, these are the same people that was responsible for 9/11. These are the same people that was responsible for slavery. So if we allow our kids to go to public school and we allow them to base their life on what's going on in public school, we set them up for failure. Go ahead.
Well, question: what do you think education started at?
What do you mean?
It starts home first. And see, this is part of what I'm talking about, responsibility, and the reason why some of our kids are going in a direction. See, whether you go to one of the best, if you go to the best school in Georgia, or you go
it's not saying a whole lot, because
what it's saying is this: is that we don't take responsibility because a lot of times I think parents think raising a child is a shift job, 9 to 5, and then it's over with. Mm-hmm. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. How we monitor phones and television, how we institute books and making our children read and take them to educational institutions other than letting them watch SpongeBob and letting them watch play video games all day. See, we don't take responsibility as adults. See, I had to look back at my own family. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? And I had to tell my mom about things that she didn't do that affected me as a young man. So not only what I seen in the neighborhood, but when I hear music, that's traumatizing to me. Mm-hmm. When I'm hearing about brothers shooting brothers, or this playing, even though they could just be writing the music. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Now, regardless if the Jews, run it, who writes the music?
Yeah, but
see, we don't take responsibility. I hear exactly what I'm saying.
This is what you're saying. You're saying that we write it, and you're saying they control it. So to one degree, it doesn't matter who the artist is. That artist is affected by the elements in his or her life. So when you take a situation where a mother is not going to PTA or she's not spending time with this situation, think about what minimum wage is. Think about what a single parent has to go to, especially if she got 2 or 3 kids. Because what's taking place is this. Most PTA meetings, guess what time they take place? Soon as you about to get off work. Mm-hmm. And if you ain't got something going on, you ain't running names or numbers, you ain't got some extra stuff going on inside, when that parent get the energy to go to PTA, they tired.
But get what though? The same thing you saying right now been going on when we was in school. Divorces, single parent household, it been going on. It still started at home with, see, you got to go back to, let's go back to baby mama, baby daddy. Let's use that term. Where, see, I coach Little League football. Okay, so I'm able to tell you how many daddies I see at football practice every day.
How many you see?
Okay. But then they come on Saturday and wonder why their child not playing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with school. You wonder why your child failing because your ass not helping them with their schoolwork at home. And that's what we're saying by it start at home. Everything that we talking about right now, go back when you was a little bit of kid, same shit was going on. Mom and daddy done got a divorce. Now you traumatized for a little while because you done growed up with your mom and dad, and now mama over here, dad over there. You might got to go to counseling, but guess what? You can't let that say, oh, this why I ain't doing this no more because my daddy ain't here. Only time it's going to affect you when daddy step out and don't never come back. You see what I'm saying? See, that's what's going on now. Kids not knowing their parents. Baby daddy had a issue. Now they can't see the child for 3-4 years. Kids affected. They ain't telling the true story. Mama ain't telling the true story. Dad ain't telling the true story. You see what I'm saying? And see, you had, and I don't mean no disrespect to women, you know what I'm saying, but the truth is the truth, or the matter is.
Why you do your head like
no,
that?
Because,
I'm talking about her, because she
no,
did like
the
this.
truth is, it's always mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Period. That's the law of the land. You see what I'm saying? That's the I'm telling you the honest to God truth. I done been in those situations. Well, we thinking it's all good, then we go take a test and that. Feel me? Okay. So to the point where mama, a lot, you know, in my generation. Now, not my mama them, because mama them, they didn't put their business on social medias and all this because they didn't have that. Now you got the female go straight to social media, tell everything going on in her life with her and the baby daddy. But you don't never tell your side of the story.
Yeah.
See, you know, men, I don't know too many men that's going to talk bad to their child about their mama. Regardless what their mama saying about them, I never got my little girl or my son and said nothing bad about. You see what I'm saying? But mamas are getting their emotion. Yeah, fuck that daddy, pussy. That nigga ain't shit. I ain't shit because I don't want to be with you no more. Not because I don't want to take care of my child, but now since I don't want to be with you, you can't see your child no more. That's how the shit be going in this day and time.
But you know, I wanted to say something like what I've noticed too, also in the news. The gang members, I don't know how young they used to be, but it seems like there's a lot of violence between, like, they're getting younger and younger. And it's not just from single parent households. Because I remember when that girl got shot over there in Stone Mountain, it was the daddy that went on the news, was talking about, my kids are good, they're good kids, they're good boys.
I went to
they
school
just
with
happen
Jermaine.
to be with some bad people, you know, a bad person. But so it has to be something stronger than just what's going on in the house. It's something that's making these kids want to, it's cool to rob, or these smash and grabs, or home invasions.
But see how...
Can I add something to what she just said? Most of our kids, like, they may come from a very good home where the parents, both parents are at home. It's not just single parent kids that are having problems. Even though the bigger group of kids having problems come from single parent homes, especially families that are being led by a woman where there's no man and the woman has to both work and take care of the kids. So basically the kids are raising themselves, and we have to take responsibility for that, because I raised my kids as a single mother. But at the same time, there was no husband. The man wasn't there. So I had choice. I had to raise my kids. If I didn't work while they were young, they wouldn't have had food on the table. They wouldn't have had a roof on the table over their heads. And of course, now when I look back, I'm going to get to my question in a bit. When I look back, I wish I had chosen my kids over a career. I wish I had chosen my kids over a good life. I wish I had chosen my kids over a nice car. I wish I had chosen my kids over making sure they had everything. Because they had everything. They had the toys. They had the clothes. Most of their clothes still had tags on them, but they needed me. They didn't need the clothes. They didn't want the shoes. Just in case there's a single mother out there that's thinking, I have to raise my kids. I have to do the best. Because you see, the psychology of a single mother is that I want my kid to grow up not missing the father. I want them not to see the difference between them and the kid next door that has both parents. So we do everything, but then what we do is we go overboard. we try to become more than we can afford, and we forget, we neglect the children. We don't take care of them. My kids came home to food, they came home to a hot meal, but I wasn't there because I was home in the morning and I went to work in the evening. And now I look at my son and the problems he's run into, and the fact that I don't know him. Half the time when he walks into the house, I don't know who this kid is, because the kid I know was that kid that grew up in my house that was gentle. He was loving, he was kind. But somewhere along the way, he got to school and he got bullied. He got to school and he got put down in the toilet, almost killed. And the teachers didn't do anything, because like you were saying, there's a law. I'm a teacher. I used to be a teacher. There's a system in our school system that doesn't allow the teacher to do anything about it. So these kids are being bullied. They're being treated badly. They're being beat up. And then they go home. There's no parent there. There's no one to tell. I didn't even know the problems that my son had growing up. I had no idea he had any problems. I learn about them now, but now he's 21. Now he can't talk to me. Now he doesn't know who I am. And every time we try to have a conversation, he looks at me like, who you think you are? I don't even know who you are. But here I am thinking, look, child, I did my best for you. But in reality, I didn't do my best for him. I did my best for me. I did my best to make sure that my conscience was feeling good. I did my best that I looked around and I said, you know what? He divorced me, but I did good. Look at me. I drove a nice car. I lived in a nice house. Now I look back, I wish I could take all that back. But the reality is we are here. We can look back and say, okay, I made mistakes, which, by the way, I've admitted. Because if I don't admit it, the listener that's listening, women out there, you're raising your kids, live a decent life. It's better to live in a small one room and be there for your kids, make enough money to make sure they have food until they're in college. Then you can have the big life that you want. But for now, focus on your kids, focus on raising them. But moving forward, I cannot go back and fix what happened. Much as I made all those mistakes, I was doing the best I thought I was doing. I was broken too. I needed healing too. I needed help too. But there's nothing in the system that takes care of a divorced woman that's alone, that needs healing and that needs help. Men on this side are saying, oh, you women are horrible, you're terrible. But the reality is the children end up in the hands of a mother. And she has no choice. She can't put the kids out. She has to raise them.
Yep.
So we've moved forward. Now 21 years, he's in and out of jail. He's in trouble. He's smoking marijuana. He's smoking all these crazy things. He wants to belong to a gang so that they can protect him. We need to find a solution from here. And the solution is he is 21. He has to take responsibility for his choices. Even though I made choices as an adult to raise him the way I did, backing up to my own life, most of the time, those of us who are having problems with our kids also had a childhood that was messed up. I had a childhood that was messed up. I was raised by a single mother too. I was raised by a mother who wasn't there. So that's the only image of motherhood that I had. The image was that if you are alone and you have kids, you do your best. If you're alone and you have kids, you don't fool around, you don't sleep around. You stay home and you take care of kids. And that's what I did. I stayed single for 17 years until my kids were grown. I lived a decent life. I didn't smoke. I didn't drink. Never brought a man home. But I still ended up with a child in trouble. So something has to be done at his age. If he holds on to what I did and he uses that as an excuse for his life, well, he's going to have a messed up life for the rest of his life. Nobody grows up and takes their mother and father with them to adulthood. At some point, you get delinked from your family and you become responsible for your life. So as we talk about this, these kids need to hear it. Yes, your parents made a mistake. Yes, they may even have neglected you. But you deserve to have a life. You deserve to have a good life. You deserve to have a future. Throwing away your life because your parents threw away your childhood is not wisdom at all. So we need to give them something that they can hold on to from here, that they can use to build their lives, because you can build your life again.
And see, that's why I go to the juvenile and speak. You know what I mean? Because, you know, like we was up there at the juvenile today and we were saying, you know, kids now, they got time, but they still can change. You know what I mean? They still can change. So you tell me, this one little guy in there, he was 14 years old. He's 15, 16 now. 8 murders. Considered to be a serial killer at 14 years old.
Oh my God.
At 14, he was known as a serial killer. You sitting there today, you just sitting there calm, baby face. You know what I'm saying? You look at these little guys, man, like me and Omar was in there today, and you got to listen to their story and understand their story. And you know, and I'm saying to myself, like, at 14, 15 years old, what kind of money could you be chasing?
Really?
You know, at 14, 15, you what, $1,000?
Yeah.
$1,000 at 14 is like $100,000 to us right now. So you gotta understand what they've been through. And like she was saying about the kid at the gas station, I actually went to school with the two guys, the two brothers of the girl who was killed at the Chevron. They just moved him last week. We was just there with the supposed to be shooter. They just moved him because he turned 17, so they sent him to DeKalb County. And you know, and when you go to listening to these kids' story, 14, 15 years old, 5 counts of aggravated assault, 2 counts of armed robbery, murder, 2 counts of murder. How are you? 15, 2 counts of murder. And we in there talking to all the kids that y'all seeing on TV. No handcuffs, no nothing. You know what I mean? Ain't no respectful. You know, they babies. You feel what I'm saying? Regardless of what we see on TV. You know what I mean? Just like the little case that was just on TV and where the guys they went in the house, robbed the man, shot the man in the leg. The lady was in the house and she ran
They
through.
all just got sentenced.
They just got sentenced to 18.
25 to life.
Well, that's who we just talked to today.
What, 5 of them?
It was 5 of them. We were just in there with them today. The same guys y'all seen on TV. Guess what? They sitting there just like this. Yes, sir. They ain't in there. They don't even have that image. They don't even know why they did it. I asked
Do you
them
think
today.
it's because they're locked up there like that?
This before then. See, I asked them today. It was what we had like 30 kids in there. I asked 30 kids, like, if y'all could do it over, how many of y'all would do it again? All 30 of them raised their hand.
So they would do it again?
They could change. They wouldn't.
See, I think that's what he's talking about, man. Like,
Oh yeah, because you don't know the consequences.
There's so much pain that's going on that we don't see.
That-
Now, trust me, these kids don't know nothing about 400 years of slavery.
They don't. That's what
They
I'm
don't know nothing about
saying.
none
So
of it.
you can't go to them and talk about what happened 400 years ago, because they only know that you gotta understand. I had my child when I was 15. Okay, my oldest child 26 now. So now these little kids, he just asked the kid in that, how many of y'all got kids? 3 of them raised their hand, and out those 3 that raised their hand, all of them facing 20 years,
You see?
and they nothing but 16, 15, already with children, but facing 20 years in prison.
That's a cycle.
See, that's it. We got so
Let's do
much
this.
going on.
I know it.
Damage,
Look, let's
damage.
do this because we got to pay some bills. Because you know, when I hear both of y'all talk, it's in the same direction. It all boils down back to family. When at the end of the day, and you know, it is a conversation that has to take place, and it is about, you know, manning up and taking responsibility. Can we get you to stick around for the remainder of the show? We're gonna bring another guest on, but I would like for you to stick around because I want to have like an open forum about like some solutions, because we can sit up and we can talk about problems all day, but if we don't get these people somewhere that they can go to, somewhere that they can talk to, you know what I mean, we're gonna be it's gonna be the same song. The next guest that we have coming up is Takiyah Butler, and she is an individual who a couple of months ago was had just come back from taking her son to the bus stop, and then coming back from the bus stop, the neighbor comes out, from my understanding, and shoots her in the face and shoot the father in the leg. No argument, no, you know, misunderstanding or whatnot. It was all on the news, but it's a situation where not even, you know, antagonizing something, not even trying to get into something. It just happened because of the area, because of what's going on, or the mental stability of that individual. Stay tuned to Instinct Radio. This is the Dainhen Butler Show. We will be back shortly.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. We're listening to Instinct Radio.